So, as was mentioned earlier, in addition, Buraidah ibn al-Hasib said, when Ali proposed to Fatima, the Messenger of Allah said, a wedding must have a wedding feast. The following points must also be kept in mind. The wedding feast should be for 3 days after consummation. This is what has been narrated from the Prophet. Anas said, the Prophet married Sophia and made her freedom, her dower, and made the wedding feast 3 days long. The righteous people should be invited to it, whether they are rich or poor. The Prophet said, do not be a companion except to a believer, and do not have anyone eat your food except a pious person. A sheep or more of one has the means should be offered as a meal. The Prophet told Abdul Rahman ibn Auf, give a wedding feast even if with just a sheep. Furthermore, Anas said, I never saw the Messenger of Allah give a wedding feast for one of his wives like he did for Zainab. In her case, he slaughtered a sheep. It is permissible to give the feast with whatever food is within one's means, even if no meat is offered. Anas stated, the Prophet stayed between Khaybar and Medina for 3 days, beginning his marriage with Safiya bint Hay. He invited the Muslims to the wedding feast. However, there was no bread or meat. He asked the people to gather food, and they brought dates, dried yogurt, and ghee. That was his wedding feast. It is not allowed to invite only the rich, excluding the poor. The Prophet said, the worst food is the food of the wedding feast. The rich are invited to it, while the poor are avoided. Whoever does not respond to the invitation has disobeyed Allah and His Messenger. The one who is invited to the wedding feast must attend it, as demonstrated by the previous hadith, as well as the hadith in which the Prophet said, if one of you is invited to the wedding feast, he should go to it, even if the person is fasting. He should respond to the invitation. The Prophet said, if one of you is invited to a meal, he should respond. If he were not fasting, he should eat. If he were fasting, he should pray, that is, invoke blessings on the people. He may even break his fast if he were voluntarily fasting, especially if the host insists. The Prophet said, whoever invited should respond to the invitation. If he wishes, he may eat, and if he wishes, he may abstain from eating. It is recommended for the guest to abide by the following 2 issues. After eating, the guest should supplicate for the host using words that have come from the Prophet. These include any of the following: O Allah, bless them in what you have provided them, forgive them and have mercy on them. O Allah, feed him who fed me, and give him to drink who gave me to drink. May the righteous eat of your food, the angels pray for you, and the fasting person break his fast with you. The guest should pray for the husband and the wife, asking for goodness and blessings for them. As stated earlier in the section on giving congratulations upon a marriage, However, it is not permissible to respond to such an invitation if the gathering involves sinful acts, unless one has the intention to remove them and put a stop to them. If he puts an end to them, that is fine. If not, he must leave. On this point, there are the following narrations. Ali said, I prepared some food and invited the Messenger of Allah. When he came, he saw pictures in my house, so he left. I said, O Messenger of Allah, by my father and mother, what made you leave? He said, in the house there was a curtain containing pictures. The angels do not enter a house containing pictures. Such was the customary practice of the pious predecessors. Thus, Abu Masud Uqba ibn Amr invited by a man for a meal, and he said, Are there pictures in the house? The man said, Yes, and Abu Masud refused to enter until the pictures were destroyed, and then he entered. Invited Abu Ayyub, and he saw a sheet covering the wall. The woman have overpowered us. If I were to fear that this would happen to anyone, I would not have feared that it would happen to you. By Allah, I will not partake of your meal. And then he left. The woman may be permitted to make the wedding known by beating on a hand drum only. They also may sing permissible songs that do not describe people's beauty or lewd matters. There are also some hadith on this point. The Prophet said, Announce